There comes a moment in a woman's life when she begins to see clearly. Walking away is often misunderstood. Many people see it as giving up, as if leaving means you were not strong enough to stay. But in truth, walking away can come from a place of deep awareness. It is not about escaping difficulty, but about recognizing what no longer aligns with your well-being. Awareness begins quietly. It shows itself in small moments. When something feels off, when your energy starts to feel drained, when you notice that you are giving more than you are receiving. At first, these signs are easy to ignore. You may tell yourself to be patient, to try harder, to hold on just a little longer. But awareness does not disappear. It waits gently until you are ready to listen. A woman who walks away is not acting out of impulse. She has observed, reflected, and understood. She has noticed patterns, words that do not match actions, promises that remain unfulfilled, or a sense of discomfort that keeps returning no matter how much she tries to fix things. This kind of clarity does not come overnight. It is built through experience, through quiet reflection, and through honesty with oneself. Consider a situation where a woman is in a relationship where communication feels one-sided. She listens, supports, and shows up fully. Yet when she needs the same in return, she is met with silence or indifference. At first, she may question herself. She may wonder if she is expecting too much. So she tries to adjust, to be more understanding, to give the other person space. But over time, she begins to notice a pattern. Her needs are consistently overlooked. Her presence is appreciated only when it is convenient. And slowly, she realizes that staying in this situation requires her to ignore her own feelings. This is where awareness becomes strength. Instead of continuing to explain herself or seeking validation, she pauses. She reflects on what she truly needs: respect, consistency, and mutual care. And when she sees that these things are not present, she makes a quiet decision. She chooses to walk away, not because she could not stay, but because she understands that staying would mean abandoning herself. Walking away is often seen through a narrow lens, as if leaving means something has been lost or failed. Yet when it comes from awareness, it carries a very different meaning. It is not driven by frustration or impulse, but by a quiet understanding that something no longer supports your inner balance. Awareness does not arrive all at once. It builds slowly through repeated experiences and subtle realizations. A woman may begin to notice how she feels after certain conversations, perhaps a sense of heaviness, confusion, or quiet disappointment. These feelings are easy to dismiss at first. She may tell herself that things will improve, that patience will bring change, or that she simply needs to adjust her expectation. But awareness continues to deepen. It invites her to observe rather than react. She starts to see patterns instead of isolated moments. She recognizes when her efforts are not being met with the same care, when her presence is taken for granted or when her voice is not truly heard. This recognition does not create anger. It creates clarity. With clarity comes a shift in perspective. She begins to understand that not every situation can be transformed by trying harder. Some things remain the same, no matter how much energy is given. And in seeing this, she also begins to see herself more clearly, her needs, her limits, and her worth. There may be moments of hesitation. Walking away is not always easy, especially when there is history, attachment, or hope. The mind may return to what once felt meaningful, holding on to memories that make staying seem easier than leaving. But awareness gently brings her back to the present, reminding her of what is real, not just what is remembered. In this space, she becomes more intentional. Instead of reacting to emotions in the moment, she listens to the deeper signals within herself. She notices where she feels respected and where she feels diminished. She pays attention to how her energy shifts in different environments, and she honors those signals without needing external confirmation. Choosing to walk away then becomes a natural extension of that awareness. It is not a dramatic act, but a quiet alignment with what feels true. She is not trying to prove anything, nor is she seeking to be understood. She is simply responding to what she has come to see with clarity, allowing her actions to reflect the respect she has developed for herself. Self-respect often reveals itself in the way a woman relates to what feels natural and what feels forced. There is a quiet difference between something that flows with ease and something that constantly asks her to push, convince, or overextend herself. At first, this difference can be difficult to recognize, especially when there is emotional attachment or hope that things will eventually settle into place. When something is right, it does not require her to abandon her sense of balance. Conversations feel mutual, not one-sided. Effort is shared, not carried alone. There is a sense of calm rather than confusion, and even in moments of difficulty, there is a willingness on both sides to understand and meet each other halfway. This kind of connection does not drain her. It supports her, but when self-respect is still growing, she may find herself trying to force what does not come naturally. She might explain her feelings again and again, hoping that this time they will be understood. She might adjust her boundaries, give more time, or lower her expectations just to maintain a connection. In doing so, she slowly moves away from her own center, often without realizing it at first. Consider a situation where she is building a friendship with someone who is warm and engaging one day, but distant and unavailable the next. She finds herself initiating most of the conversations, making plans, and putting in the effort to keep the connection alive. When she expresses her need for consistency, the response is vague or temporary. For a while, she continues trying, believing that if she just shows enough patience or understanding, things will stabilize. Over time, however, a pattern becomes clear. The connection only exists when she carries it. The moment she steps back, everything becomes quiet. This realization can feel uncomfortable because it challenges the effort she has already invested. But it also brings an important truth into focus, something that requires constant effort to sustain may not be aligned in the first place. Self-respect grows in this recognition. It gently shifts her approach from holding on to observing. Instead of asking, "How can I make this work?" she begins to ask, "Does this feel right as it is?" This question changes everything. It removes the pressure to fix and replaces it with the ability to see clearly. In that clarity, she no longer feels the need to force connection, attention, or understanding. She allows things to show themselves as they are. And when something consistently requires her to overgive or overlook her own needs, she honors that awareness by stepping back, allowing space for what is truly mutual and balanced to enter her life. Letting go is often misunderstood as a loss, yet in many moments it becomes a way of protecting something far more valuable: inner peace. There are situations where holding on feels familiar, even when it quietly creates tension within. The mind may stay occupied with unanswered questions, replaying conversations, searching for clarity that never fully arrives. Over time, this constant inner movement begins to feel heavy. At first, it may not be obvious how much this affects the inner state. A woman might continue with her daily life, appearing calm on the outside, while inside there is a subtle unrest. Thoughts return again and again to the same place, as if trying to resolve something that remains incomplete. This quiet disturbance takes energy, even when she does not speak about it. Letting go begins when she recognizes this pattern. She starts to see that holding on is not bringing understanding or peace, but rather extending the discomfort. This awareness does not create resistance. Instead, it creates space. In that space, she begins to consider another possibility: not to fix, not to force resolution, but to release. There is a gentleness in this decision. It is not about rejecting what once mattered, but about acknowledging what is no longer supportive. She allows herself to step back from the need to control the outcome or to fully understand every detail. Some things remain unclear, and she learns to be at ease with that. As she lets go, there is often a shift in how she experiences her own thoughts. The mind becomes quieter, no longer circling around the same concerns. She begins to notice small moments of stillness, times when she feels present rather than preoccupied. This quiet is not emptiness, it is relief. Protecting inner peace also means recognizing where her energy is being spent. When she is no longer tied to what unsettles her, that energy becomes available again. She may find herself more focused, more grounded, and more connected to the present moment. Simple things begin to feel lighter. There can still be moments when old thoughts return. This is natural. letting go is not a single action, but a process of gently choosing again and again not to hold on to what disturbs her balance. Each time she notices the pull and allows it to pass, she strengthens her sense of calm. In this way, letting go becomes less about losing something and more about creating space within, where peace is no longer interrupted by what she has already chosen to release. Choosing yourself is often a quiet shift that happens within long before it is visible on the outside. It is not about becoming distant or self-centered, but about recognizing that your own well-being deserves the same care and attention you so easily offer to others. For a long time, a woman may place her energy into meeting expectations, maintaining harmony, or making sure others feel comfortable. In doing so, she may slowly overlook her own needs, not out of weakness, but mituch habit and a desire to keep things steady. Over time, however, something begins to change. She starts to notice how she feels in different situations. There are moments when she agrees to things that do not feel right. Moments when she stays silent, even though something within her wishes to speak. These small compromises seem insignificant at first, but they create a quiet distance between who she is and how she is living. Choosing herself begins with awareness of this distance. She starts to listen more closely to her inner responses, not judging them, but simply acknowledging them. If something feels uncomfortable, she allows that feeling to be valid. If she needs rest, space, or clarity, she gives herself permission to have it. This is not an act of withdrawal. It is an act of alignment. There may be times when this choice feels unfamiliar. Others may not immediately understand the change, especially if they are used to her always being available or accommodating. She may feel a subtle pull to return to old patterns, to avoid discomfort, or maintain a sense of approval. Yet, each time she gently returns to herself, she strengthens a new way of being. In simple ways, this can appear as setting a boundary without over-explaining, or choosing not to engage in conversations that leave her feeling unsettled. It may mean taking time for herself without feeling the need to justify it. These actions are not loud, but they carry a quiet consistency. As she continues, there is a sense of steadiness that begins to grow. She is no longer guided only by external expectations, but by an inner understanding of what supports her balance. Her decisions become clearer, not because everything is certain, but because she is no longer ignoring herself in the process. Choosing herself becomes less of a decision and more of a natural state where her actions reflect a quiet respect for her own presence and the life she is living. And in this quiet way, everything begins to settle. She no longer feels the need to chase clarity because she has become clear within herself. She no longer waits to be chosen because she has already chosen her own path. There is a calm confidence in how she moves now, not rushed, not forced, just certain. she understands that not everything is meant to stay, and not everything is meant to be understood immediately. Some things are simply meant to be released, so that space can open for something more aligned. In this space, she finds a different kind of strength, one that does not depend on outcomes or on how others respond. A strength that is steady, quiet, and deeply rooted. She walks forward without needing to look back, not because the past has no meaning, but because it no longer holds her, and without saying a word, without proving anything, without seeking approval, she stands in her own life, fully present. This is her silent victory.